Coach, I know the last two games didn't quite go the way you wanted them to. You get the loss at Bellarmine, which you knew was going to be a tough game to wrap up the regular season, and then you open up at home on Sunday against a Maryville team in kind of a wild game, at least a wild second half, although you guys got off to a little bit of a slow start there in the first half, hitting only 4 of your first 17 shots. Take us through that game. What was Maryville doing well that prevented you guys from getting shots, or was it more on your end of things of just not getting the shots you needed?
They play an interesting matchup zone, and they use their length to deny our catches on the wing. We had 2 great days of practice, and we had played them just a couple of weeks ago, and we had talked about how we're going to backdoor that denial on the wing, and they did a good job of not letting the pass get to the trigger point where to the middleman in the high post to deliver it, and then. The other thing we'd hope to do is against any zone, you got to get the ball to the baseline. And I don't care what level it is. In high school, you don't have a shot clock yet, so it makes it a little bit easier to get there eventually. But even in college, 35 seconds is plenty enough time to get the ball to the short corner or get the ball to the baseline. It's setting up what's called a triangle. And we weren't able to do it off the initial catch. We weren't able to do it off the reversal. At their place in the first half is the best we attacked them. And we were able to get the ball down low and then skip it and then drive it. And we got ourselves in a good spot. In the second half at their place a couple of weeks ago, we got back into that standing around stuff. And Maryville had something to do with it. We had a little something to do with it. So there's a little bit of everybody can take a little piece of that. But really proud of our guys being down 12 and not playing with, not just we could get no rhythm going, and they really moved the ball well. We have good quickness. We're not very long and tall, but we are pretty quick, and our quickness wasn't able to create a factor on them in the first half. Goes 38-26 at halftime, and we weren't able to pressure the ball, so they were kind of picking us apart. Kind of reminds you of a football game where a quarterback's getting all kinds of protection and hitting the receiver in stride, and that's kind of what they were doing to us. And the second half, we got our energy a little bit higher level and got into their dribblers, got into their passers, and had 5 consecutive shutouts in the first 8 possessions of the second half. And all of a sudden, it goes to a 1-point game, 40-39.
Talking to USI men's basketball coach Rodney Watson on the Menard Studio Hotline. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville, 1053 online, ESPNEvansville.com. Well, obviously that bumps you out of the GLVC tournament, so now whether or not you get into the Division II tournament is in the hands of the committee. How do you like your chances of making it into the tournament, and where do you suspect that you'll be seated once that rolls around?
Yeah, I like our chances a lot better a week ago. But last week, you talked about the Bellarmine game just briefly. We had really 2 gigantic chances to bump ourselves to 20 wins, which is kind of an important number. Our strength of schedule in our league is so strong that we went from a 10 seed the week before to a 6 seed just because we played Indianapolis and won there. We'd won. I think in that voting, we beat St. Joe and Indy at home. So we'd gotten up to a 6 because of our strength of schedule. You play a team like Indy. You beat a team like Indianapolis, you take all of their strength with it. Now we split. And so then going to Bellarmine for their senior night on Thursday, that was kind of a one-game play-in for us as well. So we had a couple of chances in this thing. And, man, I'll tell you what, to play at Bellarmine, a sold-out crowd on their senior night, a team that's legitimately one of the top. They're ranked second in the country. What does that mean? It means that, hey, they're one of them. They're one of the best teams. And our kids played with such fire and energy. And you got a guy like George Edwards getting 14 rebounds in the most physical game of the year. Tanell Rowland and Gavin Schumann and Austin Davis all played terrific as seniors. Just couldn't have been more proud of how hard we played for 40 minutes. We came up short, but man, we played extremely well in terms of defense. Transition defense was killing us in November, December, and most of January, and it was spectacular. They didn't get a fast break basket on us all night, something they do better than probably anybody in the country. We rebounded like crazy. Fellas, we could not buy a shot, but part of that has to do with they were contesting everything. We had 73 shots on the road. Can you believe that? 73 shots. We get 22 offensive rebounds, and we shoot 27%. And it's not that we were missing point-blank shots. Our jumpers were being contested, but we were giving ourselves second chances. The 2 big kickers in that game was we were 8 for 19 from the free throw line. Hank Ives said back in 1938, the team that shoots the most layups and free throws generally wins the game. Well, he also meant makes them, and free throws and layups this time of year, and our layups were fast breaking. They weren't clear-cut layup line layups. They were hard contested fast break baskets. But we had 5 that we couldn't convert. We had, obviously 11 free throws we couldn't convert. And, against one of the top 5, maybe the best team in the country on the road, sold-out crowd, all those things, you have to have that to go as well. But it wasn't from a lack of effort. Really proud of them. And then, of course, we talked about the Maryville game and how that game ended. We finally come back in the last 12 minutes. We take the lead. We get a 2-point lead and we get their guy to shoot about a 28-footer with a contested shot from 3 down 2, and with 2 seconds to go, it was you weren't there. It was just like the 1983 national tournament where the kid from North Carolina State took the long shot, and then it was an air ball, and the guy was there to put it back in the basket. Only in our case, it went to overtime. And then we traded baskets back and forth, ended up losing by 1 point. Again, our kids battled. It was a microcosm of our season, and now it's a waiting game. We are on a pretty thin bubble line. It's a couple things that's going to hurt us. Is that Drury plays UMSL. UMSL's a team we beat on the road. They were 9-9. Drury ended up the season 11-7. We were 12-6, but they beat us at their place. Those 2 people they play Thursday. The winner of that game probably gets a bump on us. What probably needs to happen is for us to get in the tournament, we need whoever wins that game to kind of get gun smoked on Saturday by one of the top 4 seeds. And then for sure we need the 2 best teams in the GLIAC to win out and win the tournament. If that possibly happens, we have an outside chance. If not, we're strictly recruiting and kind of getting ready for next year.
Well, you speak of recruiting, Coach. That's where you're at right now. You're out on the road doing what you do and earning your paycheck. I know we can't talk about ones you're chasing, but we can talk about anybody you've locked down. What are some names that USI fans can look forward to next season?
We're really proud of Alex Stein and Jacob Norman from this great Wrights team. This team's having a magical run, even to come off senior night on Friday and go up to Southport, playing against one of the best teams without question in the state, and play the game tooth and nail. They led kind of late, kind of a back-and-forth game similar to what we went through on Sunday. And we're so pleased to have these 2 tough guys, and we're wishing them great success to finish this thing off. From there on, we're looking for big guys. We've got to have length. We've got to have size. That's what we lack this year. We think with what we've got coming back, we've got a good nucleus coming back with George Edwards and Antonio Drummond, and I was, without going down on everyone, we've got just a good bunch of kids coming back, hard-working guys that want to be coached. If we can put some length and size with this crew, we really need a couple of pieces. We feel like we have a chance to really upgrade this thing back to where it really needs to be and where it's been built in the 20-some years before we got here.
Talking to Coach Rodney Watson from USI Men's Basketball. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 1053 online, ESPNEvansville.com. And, Coach, real quick before we let you go and let you get back to your actual job, I want to get your thoughts on something that's taken place here over the last week or so. It got brought up after that Kansas State game. What's your take on court storming after a team wins?
Coach Weber, I work for him. We're really good friends, and he's the coach at Kansas State, and of course, it was a big win. When we were at Southern Illinois together, we had some great wins, and college basketball has a lot of elements to it. And let's face it, 2 of the biggest elements to college sports is one for the college student, give them a place to blow off some steam and create some loyalty and pride and have fun at a game. And so you don't want to take that away from anybody. The other part is really the entertainment value for everyone there. And let's face it, I'm in that category where I like to be around young people. Young people make you feel a little, when you're around them, they're energetic and they're fun and they make you feel younger. And so you don't want to take away that element. I think the biggest thing with that game, I think their court management kind of underestimated what could happen, and I felt terrible for Coach Self. He's a good man, and I know Coach Weber and he are, they're competitors, but Coach Weber was really frustrated with kind of how that kind of got out of place. You can't have that because, let's look at from the Kansas standpoint. You got Kansas is a great team. I mean, they're fighting for a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. They're playing always at the highest level. They're competitive. They get beaten a game against a rival, and no one likes to get beat. No competitor likes it. And then you got some kids that are they're just college kids are having fun, but that goes. And then all of a sudden, somebody rushed somebody, maybe somebody gets punched just out of kind of a protection, maybe because you're a little frustrated. And it's just, those things can happen and they don't need to. I noticed the very next game against Iowa State where they kind of stole that game at the end against a ranked team. I know they were Johnny on the spot with having their control line, meaning Kansas State had their control line in place, and I think they had a little better handle on the storming. I don't like to see it taken away, but you've got to be able to control your environment. It's just like everything else. You got to control your kids, you got to control your house, and I would hate. I'd love to see it at USI. I'd love to see it at University of Evansville. I'd love to see we have so many kids and the excitement's there because it's only going to bolster more excitement in the community. But you got to be careful because there's a risk involved.
No doubt about it. That's Coach Rodney Watson from the USI men's basketball team. Coach, best of luck. We'll hold our breath along with you and hope that you guys get a seed for the tournament coming up. I think Thursday is when you find out, right?
We'll really find out Sunday. We don't really have a way to find out beforehand. It's like it's just like it's like everybody else waiting, and we have spring break starting. So what we will do is we'll send our kids home Friday, and we just hope that we have to find out a way to get them back here. That'd be a great inconvenience on our part. But regardless of what happens, I would like everyone to know this has been a great team to coach. One of the most fun teams I've been around. Kids love to play. I mean, I can't tell you how many times these guys. I get calls from the people at the pack. Hey, your kids, it's 11:30. They're still shooting baskets. And I said, well, what would you rather have, that or have them on the news for something else? And what a great group of kids. Thank you guys so much for your interest in our program, and hope we can talk some more.
Certainly. We'd love to talk to you again. And again, good luck, and hopefully we can talk again about you guys getting ready for the Division II tournament.
Great. Thank you.